And thanks for joining us tonight. We're just a couple of minutes away from an epic Art Connect show. We've got two legends lined up already and a few more in the wings. We've got the mighty Chris Tofu from the East Side, but there's no such side with Chris Tofu. He's global, he's international style, he's multi-continental. And we've also got the man like Junior Tomlin from the West Side, who's one of the most inspiring creative artists. So we've got two artists, different genres, one heart, one love, one vibe. We'll be with you in about 2 minutes, so please don't go away. Please find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, find us on YouTube, tell your friends. Let's absolutely rinse this. Let's do this live. It's World Creativity Day. Be back with you in about 2 minutes. Hold tight. Well, good evening and welcome to World Creativity Day. We're proud to be the UK champions for World Creativity and Innovation Week and Day today because we're the early adopters of challenging the status quo. We're going into uncharted territories. I'm not going to read all this to you. Enjoy the film. We're live in 45 seconds. Hold tight, everybody. I am creative and so are you, and welcome to this World Creativity and Innovation Day, a United Nations initiative as part of the global goals. And here we are, you're joining us now live and direct on a cardboard cathedral made from cardboard boxes in a school playing fields in Coventry. The significance of that is that the previous cathedral was bombed, during the war and rose from the ashes. The day after it was bombed, the provost of Coventry Cathedral came out and said, we're going to rebuild it. We're not going to rebuild it as an act of defiance. We're going to build it as a token, a sign of optimism, of possibilities, of hope, of community, of connection. And that's what we're talking about here today. We are here today for the Art Connects show. One of our random streams. Just about everything we do here at STEAMco is pretty random, I'm afraid to have to say. But we are here today talking about how art connects. Just this week, I was down in Dorset. A year ago, I hadn't live streamed, and the other day, I did this with a green screen.
A fantastic day launching our Inspired to Learn 21 UK tour to help everybody have a school as amazing as Prince of Wales School. Big round of applause for everybody at Prince of Wales School. My goodness, what an amazing school. Mr. Spracklin let me borrow the name Inspired to Learn, and I'm going to take it to every school in this country that will have me. Lockdown's been hard. A year ago I lost all my work, no work at all, and I got myself a green screen. And now I've got two, and I can't find my little ones. Let me see my green screen. Behind me. Where is it? It's not behind me. I can't see it anywhere. I can't see my green screen anywhere.
STEAMco really proud to be UK country champion for World Creativity and Innovation Week. I'm Nick Corston. My claim to fame is quite simply that I'm just a dad who does his best for himself and for everybody else. We are this week running an Inspired to Learn talk, and that session there was from Prince of Wales School down in Dorset, where everything that head teacher does is to inspire those children to learn, to be engaged in their learning, because we believe the power of creativity to inspire kids in their learning, to fuel the economy and to create opportunities for absolutely everybody by connecting communities. We've talked to the children about art, maybe some way they can make a living one day, make some money, maybe make some friends, and maybe make the world a better place. And the world could not be a much better place than with two of the people I've got here tonight, actually, a couple of absolute legends in the world of creativity, in the world of art. I'm delighted to welcome to the stage, if you like, to our cardboard stage, Chris Tofu over there and Junior Tomlin. Chris is on the east side and Junior's on the west. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Chris is waving a kitchen knife around. Never argue with somebody from Waltham Forest when they've got a kitchen cleaver in their hand and potatoes in the other hand. Chris Tofu, I'm so delighted you could join us. So, Chris, unfortunately, you weren't able to make the festival's event earlier on, but not to worry, you're here now. And Junior, do me a favour, guys, just say hello in a sentence about what you do 24/7, what your art is. Chris, go for it.
We make hundreds of festivals, we do hundreds of gigs, usually to millions of people. During the whole of lockdown, we've created the world's first virtual reality festival in total VR with the Australians called Sansar. And I'm a DJ, and me and Nick are going to do a whole festival based around cardboard.
Well, that's the first I've heard of it, and I'm loving the sound of that. That sounds fantastic. Did my cardboard cathedral sort of give me some sort of credentials in your eyes, does it, Chris? He's gone off to peel the veg now. Junior, tell us a little bit about...
Cardboard's the future.
It's all good. Junior, what's your game? What's your art, Junior? Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Well, my art is nowadays is mainly digital, vector graphics. I started off as an airbrush artist doing computer game covers. Then I moved off into doing record covers, ray flyers, digital coloring for Marvel Comics. And then I still moved off into film, where I used to be feature technician for a film called Nightbreed. Then I worked on Lost in Space back in Soho, and that was quite brilliant. And I'm still doing art. I'm still doing like record covers. I teach people how to use Adobe Illustrator, and I like persevering with my art. I've got a book out. I'm getting into NFTs. And I'm an Afrofuturist.
Hang on, mate. I was with you for a bit there, and then you dropped 3 letters in. I haven't got a clue what that's all about. I've read a lot about this NFT stuff. What's that all about, Junior?
Non-fungible tokens. So it's basically how you can get digital art onto, basically sell digital art.
Wow. It's funny, actually, because Chris joined us at an event last year, actually. I don't know if you remember that, Chris, where we had Charlie Phillips there, didn't we, from the West Side, talking about his work back in the early days, the Windrush generation, and how he'd literally been given a camera by a GI as payment for a bed for the night, and how that transformed his life, really. I mean, Chris, take us back to that evening in Waltham Forest. Give us what do you remember of that evening? We had quite a time, didn't we?
Yeah, I've actually got one of his pictures I got in a car boot sale. Can you believe it?
What, since then or before then?
Yeah, last weekend.
No.
I'm sure it's one of his. Yeah, I'll show you.
He had a big article in the Guardian the other week. It's almost like Charlie's finally got some recognition, and people are recognising his.
Wow.
That's looking like. Do you recognise that part? Let's get that up full screen. Do you recognise that corner there, Junior? Is that the laundrette?
Yeah, it looks familiar.
Do you think it's the laundrette corner?
It could well be.
Interesting.
Did you find any more pictures in this car boot?
Is that the only one you had, Chris, from there? We've lost your audio, mate. What's going on? Is that me or is it you? No, it's not me.
That's me. That was the worst car boot sale I ever went to in my whole life. That was the only thing there, and I was like, "What? That's at Charlie's boot."
Well, I'd say that's gone from the worst to the best. Fantastic. So, Junior, you've got into this NFT thing. So it's interesting, isn't it? I think the point that I was fumbling around making there was this gulf between Charlie, who was very much into the old school photography, and who really hasn't done very much digital at all. And how both of you, I mean, Chris Tothill, I know you do a bit of DJing with your MP3s and your little mixer console and stuff, but you're not.
Nick?
Go on.
Nick, sorry. Can you just turn your mic down a little bit because you're like.
Good call. Good call. Am I? Thank you for that. I need someone to tell me this now.
Shouty look.
I need someone to tell me this now and not when I've recorded a 40-minute live stream. Thanks for that, man.
Yeah.
I can't hear myself this thing, so I've got it muted out in my ears. So, Chris, you're not something I associate with high tech necessarily. Not that that's a bad thing, and it doesn't matter. But tell us about your Sansar collab this year.
Yeah, well, it's been pretty amazing because just before lockdown, I started talking with this guy about doing some virtual reality music production stuff, which they've built virtual reality studios now. And then lockdown came, and I run this whole area at Glastonbury called Shangri-La, and just the whole team at Shangri-La is so creative. It's over like 300 actual visual artists, Junior,
wow,
just in that field.
Nice.
We believe a festival field is actually an art gallery, not a field in that field, and. So we all got together with this guy, with these Californians that I met who run this thing called Sansar. I used to run a thing called Second Life.
That's it.
And we created a 4-stage virtual reality festival, which in virtual reality, or if you've got a PC, you can walk around, you can see your friends there, you can interact with them and stuff like that. But just as a stream, what it's meant, the weirdest thing is that we've managed to put like bands, go and green screen bands in Jamaica, bands in Africa, bands in Canada, loads of Indian acts, and we managed to green screen them so they're all on the same stage. So like you've got your normal streams and they're all from different places. Our ones are all from the same stage, and we've got a massive art gallery in there as well. So yeah, the NFT thing's come up, although it's had a little bit of a tumble in the last few days, I understand. That's my understanding of it anyway. But yeah, I have a friend who's got all of Lou Reed's kind of stuff from the family, and they're going to NFT the whole bloody lot, I think.
Yeah,
it's warehouses full.
it's all digital. You know, people could sort of like make a little pixel dog, you know, wag its tail and sell it for, you know, a cool $500,000. And you're thinking, how come? Because at the end of the day,
Fuck.
you're not going to print the little dog wagging its tail and put it on the wall, because it's all dots and zeros. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, so people are just basically trading it like, you know, playing cards. You know, physical art will always be there.
Chris, we've
I
got
think
some
it's like-
we've got some of your Sansar footage up here actually, Chris. Your Lost
Oh, yeah,
Horizon
where's that?
stuff. You see that on the screen there?
Oh yeah, that's me in avatar form.
So I'm a bit funny. I quite enjoy clubbing. I haven't been out for a while, obviously, and I'm getting a bit old as well. But I'm not sure I ever really wanted to go clubbing with somebody with a banana on their head. I mean, how does that kind of work? What's that vibe?
Well, first of all, if you're in virtual reality, the visual element of it is insane. It's so high res.
Is it?
So it's such a journey. You know what I mean? Like what we're seeing now is like a stream from the place, and all those people who are dancing around in front of the stage, those are the avatars. And over time, I've begun to talk to them more off stage and like communicate with them, and that goes down really well. The virtual reality part's always live, you see, so that's why the gig's live. And yeah, people do talk to each other, and we've got our own TV studio in there as well, so you can just go and sit down and interview people and stuff like that in virtual reality. But at the moment, because it's a really hey, here's our art gallery, Junior. Look, this is all the art that we're dealing with. And
I'd like to be there next time.
Can we get some of Junior's stuff in there the next time we're rocking that one?
Yeah, I need to get a link and send it to the curators. They'd love that. And yeah, it's been an amazing experience. But we got like, say, 4 million views for the first festival. And then what happened then was that we, you know, even then there was only 2,000 or 3,000 people using virtual reality headsets in it. So it's got a long way to go. Apple Mac hasn't started virtual reality off yet, which is the big hold up. And eventually we'll all be doing this. With 5G, 5G will transform how we all look at stuff. Even Nick will be looking completely different once 5G is in use, because it allows you to do 360 live. So you can see 360 but live, so you'll be able to see it on any telly or anything that you can move around, and that's just about to drop. It's dropped in Singapore, Hong Kong, Stockholm, places like that. They've got that now, so you can see everything. You can watch all your football match in 360 degrees with like as if you're in the middle of it. And of course, you can meet up people like these people are meeting up. No, none of those people will be on their own there. They'll all be having their mates with them as well. And
I think the thing for me, Chris, is it's early days and people sort of mock the tech or it does or doesn't work. But at the end of the day, the grounding factor behind all this is that element of human connection, isn't it? You know, people are making those connections. They're making a friend. They, you know, because you're in a room where the same record was being played that you liked. You know, and suddenly that's the glue, and suddenly you've got another connection on the planet. You know, it's all good vibes, isn't it? And I know that there's nobody at Shangri-La would rather have a VR headset on than be in the field down in Somerset. But it's about extending that experience or taking it to people who didn't get a ticket, I guess, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, it really is. It's like at the moment it's really great because we can ask pretty much any artist in the world to just go to their local studio and green screen. So we don't have the money anyway, but you know, we've been getting some really great acts and they're really into it. But going forward from that, it will be the same. You know, if you live in Iceland, you're not going to go and see Napalm Death because they don't go to Iceland. So you might as well watch them in VR. You might as well watch them in something really crazy.
Does that mean that the bands will actually not tour? They'll just do one monster gig a year because it's touring that's killing bands in a way, isn't it? I mean, there'll still be that physical experience, I guess, won't there?
No way. A band without an audience is still completely weird. It's not right. It's not. It's not the human condition. It's like
Yeah,
an
it's
artist
like
who doesn't want their work.
it's like
being seen.
football without a crowd.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Not the human condition.
So do you think
Nor
is
is it
is the future here hybrid events there, where you have a live event, but one that people can actually be part of by joining in, and there's like a bit of both, and then you're connecting and collaborating between each other?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. So what we're doing in Coventry for Coventry City of Culture, hopefully, we
Oh, cool.
definitely want to, because a lot of things going on up there, is to have like 3 or 4 great for the carnival. Say, Pax will be here soon. He'll probably talk about it. But for the carnival, you know, we're going to have like a bunch of really great UK reggae acts, and then Beanie Man on a big screen. And Beanie Man will he'll go to his studio for very little money, because it just makes total sense to him. And a little solo set there, you know. But for the people in Coventry, that's a really big thing, you know. So they can all, and he can say, "Hey, Coventry," you know what I mean?
So it is even though it's online and virtual, it is still a personal experience for that audience, isn't it? Really, and it's
in
real and
terms
it's
of a
live.
hybrid event. Yeah, that's the idea. It's not really, people have, like, none of us had done a bloody stupid Zoom meeting a year ago. No
Got
one's
past
really
that,
tried that much, you know.
Tell me about it.
So we've got a pasta ad now. Maybe I should pay a YouTube subscription. What do you think? I didn't get my culture recovery grant, so I've got to keep the cost down.
Stop it.
You got all the money. You got all the money, Chris. I'm gonna have a crowdfund. I need some money back off you this year. So, Junior, what do you think of this virtual stuff, man? I mean, you're West London. You've got Carnival every year. Could you? I mean, Carnival last year did a virtual thing, didn't they? Very much a live stream, big production
good.
job.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to check it out. What did you think of it? Was it good?
Because, yeah, but I like this, because this basically looks like it's the way forward on so many other different levels. You know, on the the meeting level, the network level, the gigs level, music and everything else. Because everybody is in the room as themselves. Even though they are an avatar. And you could basically, communicate with people and have a good time in the company of your own home. Yeah. Have you both heard of Clubhouse?
Oh, the audio thing. Yeah, I've got a link to that. Yeah, have you used it?
Yes. There's a whole lot of interesting rooms in there. There's even a whole lot of rooms about NFTs and how to get started, how to mint your stuff, and what platform to put it on, if it's going to be OpenSea or Foundation or Rarible,
It's funny actually, because I've got a Clubhouse invite, and I set it up. I didn't actually spend much time on it, and I did the Twitter Spaces, the Twitter one where you just start chatting to somebody, and then people join in, and it's a bit like this. This is super high tech, but sometimes just if Chris and I and you were having a chat, and then other people could join in. That's quite a powerful dynamic, because then people become part of that conversation.
Yes.
It's back to that connection again, the Art Connects thing, isn't it? Really, really important.
Yeah, Clubhouse is amazing.
Have you had much to do with that, Chris? Have you?
I've been on it a few times, and to be honest, it takes a little bit of slight bit of learning to find the right place, doesn't it? You know what I mean? But I went to a really good place around when the Extinction Rebellion in there, actually, like world environmental people, and it was very cool, and people were saying good stuff, But then I found another place, and they were talking about total shit. But that's the nature of it. You know where to look. You know where to go. You're laughing.
I didn't actually realise that.
The beauty of it, is that you can basically pop into the room, listen for like 5 minutes, and if it's not your cup of tea, as it says there, you can leave discreetly.
An Irish goodbye.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, that's always a nice way to go, isn't it? Because it's a bit of a shame when people just drop out of your events without saying properly. So interestingly, I find it fascinating, Chris, with maximum respect, and I think really exciting that somebody as creative as you and the Shangri-La crew and Continental Drifts are really, really at the cutting edge. And the great thing about that, for me, is that we're going to get great content with great technology, as opposed to just a bunch of geeks kind of running it. I always remember back in the day when Apple launched their the iPod, and you could rip you could get a mixed CD and you could rip it, so all the tracks played, but it always put a 2-second pause between them. So just as the DJ's getting a good old beat mix going on, there'd be this 2-second pause. And the point is, the engineer who developed that didn't listen to DJ mix CDs. He thought it was great because you could put an album on, and albums have 2-second gaps, and so that's what he recreated. But he didn't realise that the Ministry of Sound mega mixes or whatever we were listening to at the time needed that seamless thing, and I think it's the tragedy is when you've got techs developing content like this, it always shows. When you've got people like Chris and the crew at Shangri-La and people like you, Junior, I think it's exciting. And I think that's as long as we build in that. I think we've had a year now to experiment, haven't we, to build and get ahead on what works, what doesn't, the interaction, what's the strengths of it. What's your best online experience in the last year, Junior? What have you really enjoyed doing, and what connections have you made? Does anything stand out? I know we did some live streams with Afrocentrics and the Portobello Pavilion.
Well, yeah, because the Afrocentric stuff, that really stood out for me. And then
Did it?
There's the other run-of-the-mill Zoom stuff where you're in a meeting, talking. But there was one. What happened just a couple of days ago? Yeah, I was basically interviewed for a podcast from 2 people over in Canada. So that was quite interesting. So I am getting around a bit, but and also I'm also on Clubhouse, so I go into rooms. So I met one person in a room, and now I'm like one of the principal, moderators in a room, which is happening on Friday. It's like how to survive a toxic relationship.
Blimey, did you need that? I probably do. Actually,
it's quite interesting. It's basically making connections with people and doing collaborations.
Well, that is the future of all this stuff, isn't it? As far as I'm concerned, it's funny actually because I need help recreating a toxic relationship. I actually had a toxic relationship. I lost. I need it back. I'd rather have a toxic relationship than no relationship, to be honest. But that's another story. Another story altogether. Chris, what's the highlight of your year of lockdown, lock-in? What was your highlight, Chris, of the last year?
There's been quite a few. My highlight of lockdown is not being in lockdown.
What, those moments, those brief moments?
Yeah, I did a few gigs last summer, which was really great. And there was a gig called Lockdown Town that we did that was safe but brilliant at the same time, and was about the closest thing to a real human vibe gig going. While doing 8-10-minute DJ sets to people for 10 minutes.
Well done, you.
Yeah, it was a very successful show. It was brilliant, actually. It was about the city of Tulsa and history and music. And yeah, it was fantastic. But yeah,
what does the summer hold?
Junior, do you have a question? Sorry.
Yeah, I forgot to mention one of the highlights of this year was basically doing an album cover for OC Bisa.
Get off! Wow.
Yes, I did.
Check you out.
It's being released this month.
Because OC Bisa's original artwork was from Roger Dean, right?
Yes. I'm
Amazing.
quite honoured to walk in his shoes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean the cover on that was superb, wasn't it, as well? Wow, I'd love to see that. God, you're the main man for getting in with OC Bisa. He's not still alive, right?
I can't remember. I don't know. Because I know the the guitarist from the new reformed band called Greg. Don't know if you know him, Greg
Uh-huh.
Kobe Brown.
Oh, maybe.
He
It's
does he does
amazing. Yeah.
yeah he does gigs in Russia. Well, he used to before COVID.
Well, OCBSA has an important role to play in Afro music in the UK, doesn't he? Really?
Yeah,
I was the first guy off the really. There were a few other people, but in the UK, he was the guy, and he played every single town in the whole of England, and little gigs and big gigs and everything, didn't he? You know?
Really? Wow.
Yeah, he was brilliant for spreading the words like that. I mean, he was like 10 years before his time, easily, for bringing that music to the rest of England, which is my other job, Junior.
yeah.
That's the main job.
So how long have you been doing it then, Chris?
Continental Drifts is in year 25, and we are currently the same size as we were like pretty much 25 ago, which is 4 people, which is crazy.
Wow.
Because of COVID and stuff like that. But I'm back, no problemo. But yeah, 25 years. But one of the strands of music that we're really interested in is where like diverse crews in England remix with 21st century sound.
Cool.
People live in the UK, loads of African crews. We do stages of that music pretty much. So yeah, that's why I know about OCBSA, and I was like, wow, and that album cover being one of the best. You're right, seriously, I can't wait to see your version, my friend. You're from the right place, isn't it?
Yes.
Well,
I just love doing album cover art, yeah, because it gets out there. Because this month alone, I've got like 2 more covers that I've done the covers for coming out. So that makes a total of 3. So I'm quite chuffed.
That's good, isn't it? During this time as well, that's good that the work's coming in as well. It's brilliant. 3 albums. Who else are they for then?
One's for another
Actually, I've got
previous
your-
one's coming out. It's like super fine cable, no, super nice cables. That's the name of the track. And the other one is a remix of something that I'd done last year.
Does your site up here look, Junior?
Yeah,
Yeah,
get them
that's
up.
fine.
Man. Let's have a look.
Tell us about what we've got here, Junior.
What you got here is a total collection of all the art that I've done. You know, from when I used to do record covers, rave flyers, digital artwork, Afrofuturism, yeah, my running off into doing like comic strip digital colouring. And as you can see, there's a guitar there where I painted the guitar, you know, front and back. That was a quite a good gig. My computer game covers, my playing cards. I've done 4 playing cards for Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, for their game called Magic the Gathering. Logos, and my own stuff that I just like, produce every now and again, because it's always nice to produce a piece of artwork to go into my repertory. And when people sort of like looking for artwork, I give them a chance of like either get me to design something new or picking something from my back catalogue.
What should we have a look at here? What should we drop in on, Junior? What should
Drop in on the vector stuff, the vector art.
Which one's that? Oh, vector art. Yeah, okay. Wow.
Yeah, I do have a little bit of social commentary every now and again.
So tell us some of the stories and inspiration behind your work here, Junior.
Yeah, the one with the blue lady and her face and all those eyes. Yeah, that one. It came about. Would you believe in a very strange way, because I kept on uh, hearing that word, radicalized. He has been radicalized. So I thought about the name, and I thought about the name, and I said, yeah, wait a minute, let's change it to Radical Eyes. So that was basically, Radical Eyes. It's a vector piece, and the woman's face was actually based on Ava Gardner. So that's basically Ava Gardner with all the gear on after the treatment.
Wow. Wow, that's brilliant.
Epic.
Wow, this work is amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
and that's all done in Adobe Illustrator.
Wow,
Get
it's
off,
amazing work.
really?
The detail is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, that's definitely the Euro.
Amazing. Amazing.
Cool black chick.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing.
And what's your story, Junior? Developing your art. I mean, Charlie Phillips, when we were in Chris, you couldn't turn that light behind you off, could you, Chris? It's sort of glaring out a little bit. There we go. This is where you have a tug of war with your partner or your child about having the light on, isn't it? No problem. So, Junior, when we were in Parliament, Charlie Phillips came to one of our Parliament events, and he said it was the first time he'd ever actually been in Parliament, which I was really quite humbled to think that, it was an invitation from us that got Charlie Phillips into the Houses of Parliament. But on that day, he said that when I grew up, we didn't have access, growing up working class, we didn't have access to the arts. And I'm assuming you didn't have a silver spoon in your mouth when you were born. What's been your journey to being able to express your creativity? We had the head teacher of the School Head Teachers Union on earlier, and the arts, and they've got a one-day national festival of art on the 28th of May. What was your experience of school, Junior?
I enjoyed school, even though I felt like sometimes a bit of a loner. Basically, kept myself to myself. I didn't see the need of hanging around in gangs, even though I made friends at school who I still keep in touch with. Yeah, and it's also good, right, to have a art teacher, who basically believes in you. Because there's so many other stories here where you've got a talented student, yeah, but they've got nobody basically to spur them on. Yeah, believe in them, and basically to challenge them, And my art teacher, would you believe, is none other than a lady called Carol Amis, who is basically, you'll find her on the gardening programs, and her name is Carol Klein. She was my art teacher.
Celebrity gardener, teacher to Junior Tomlin.
Yes.
So you went to school in West London, did you?
Yeah, I went to Christopher Wren School up in White City. Yeah, I stayed there until the upper sixth form, so I can basically obtain my A level, and they killed me off when I got graded. They gave me an E.
No, on art.
Yeah, they gave me an E in art.
Oh, hang on, you got A level art, E.
Yes.
And what'd you put that there? Did you do put a blue plaque in your space saying you studied here but not actually do any art? Or that was Gavin Turk's trick, wasn't it? You didn't do a Gavin Turk on it, did you?
No, it's like, I think when it came to that, yeah, the people who was basically marking my coursework found things in my course here what they couldn't understand, and that's why they probably marked me down. It wasn't basically like the typical white bottles, or a fluffy dog or a toy. It was basically like abstract shapes done my way. So I think I got marked down because of that, because I didn't understand the creative mind at that particular time.
Well, it's interesting because there's two schools of thought on art. I mean, there's this education is very polarised between this traditional view and the academic view and the progressive, trendy sort of creative view. And some schools say they offer art, but it's often just a history of art. It's a very formulaic, mechanistic approach, Whereas what some young people want is a much freer approach to it, isn't it? I'm delighted my son got himself an art foundation at Kingston to start next year, and I guess he's lucky, you know, in the environment in which he grows up and the school in Camden he goes to, Ackland Burley up there. Chris, I mean, what was your journey into all this education school? You're an East London boy. Oh no, did you grow up in East London? I can't remember. You haven't
No
told me.
way, I'm from Torquay.
Of course you are, Torquay. What am I talking about? Devon
Yeah.
boy, West Country.
Yeah.
So that's just
Torquay.
hippie central for west of Bristol. It's just hippie central, isn't it? You got
No,
away with
it's
it.
not Torquay. No way. Torquay is a fucked up place. It's always fucked up. It's a
Big
really,
waste, is it?
really weird place. It's got 170,000 people living in it, and they're all from different places, and it sits in a sort of really weird place. Places like that are fucked. Basically, they're high street. They've got tourism down there now, which because of Brexit and bloody COVID has actually helped them out. So that's a good thing to see. So people are going, it's really lovely down there, you know what I mean?
I thought they always had tourism in Torquay. I thought that's what it was built on, the
Yeah.
Riviera.
Wane, even that was sort of waning because it's just so, yeah, fucked up down there.
So basically, they're reinventing themselves on the back of staycations, are they?
Well, staycations is helping all the seaside resorts in England, and there's a whole bunch of seaside towns which are quite run down, like Great Yarmouth.
Oh yeah, I was there last year. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
can I
know,
ask something? What is the average age of people down in Torquay?
probably about 150.
That's why
There
it's
are a
one
lot
of
of old
the,
people
all
down
the
there.
young have left, hasn't they?
Yeah, a lot of people retire, and so the population is more skewed to an older population. But it's an incredible place, and I'm doing it. It's so beautiful. The venues to die for. You know, places to put gigs on. The town is very up for putting gigs on every week. Caves, beaches, places like that. So
It sounds
It's
like
a
it
real-
needs an enema of life.
it does, and they're doing what they can. You know what I mean? But COVID is, yeah, obviously it's really hurt them, hotel people.
Yeah.
But now it's really booming for them. But yeah, how did I get into what? What was the question, Nick?
What, you know, your education, creativity, art. What's developed your creativity? I always remember. I'll never forget going into a co-op in Waltham Forest to buy some stuff, and a little old lady, I gave her a flyer for the Art of Festivals event we did a year or so ago, 2 years ago now, and she said, "Oh, Chris Topher, yeah, he used to run the Lollipop." It was lovely. This little old lady, that Chris Topher, I love him. He used to run the Lollipop, and that for me, I know you don't need me to say it, but your authenticity, the fact that you've been doing this for years, but not just in Glastonbury, not just the trendy stuff, but you've been there for the people, grassroots. You are grassroots
Yeah,
art and
all day.
creativity. I mean, you live
All
and breathe
day.
it, and I think connecting with you has been one of the blessings of my life, to be honest, Chris Tofu, because no. You've been really generous. You tipped your black book in my direction 3 years ago. Tony Cordy now is a good friend. He texts me a couple of times a month.
Oh, Tony, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and what was lovely, I actually got you on one of these shows for a little chat a year ago, didn't I? And we've sort of brought you back together again. And
Yeah.
you know, Rob the Bank has I've opened up the doors. I've been working with Robbie for 5 or 6 years, but you know, when you gave me a DJ spot, you know, my teenage son had a bit of respect for me on the back of that. Bit of vinyl, a bit of hip hop, wasn't it? 80s hip hop special. So I owe you a lot, and I'm actually just going to. I don't know. I think we should probably knock it on the head in a couple of minutes. But Junior, any final thoughts about what we've discussed? Your thoughts, hopes for Creativity Day, World Creativity Day. What are your thoughts and hopes for the future and the role of creativity as we come out of lockdown?
Well, I think there's going to be an unbridled boom in creativity because people have basically been stuck indoors for the whole year. Yeah, and if they haven't been creating and coming up with new concepts and new ideas, they've basically been sleeping and walking around like a sheep. But it's going to be good when people are released and everything is opened up, and art galleries, music, sound, and everything else, and museums. Yeah, I'm all for that, and all for basically the new frontier when it comes to NFTs and people basically spreading multiple different faceted visions all over the place.
Fantastic. Well, that's bodes well. I just hope that people bother and they make the effort. I'm sure you both
Yeah.
watched. I'm sure you both watched Grayson Perry and his amazing art club show, didn't you? I got a copy of this book the other day. I mean, my goodness, I don't have time to watch telly. I got my rowing machine out, so I rode my way through The Crown, and I've now rode my way through Grayson Perry's art club. My goodness, that is just for me an epiphany of what art and creativity and human connection really is all about. Chris Tofu,
Wow.
what are your thoughts as we finish now this year, this session, and what does your summer look like?
Well, first of all, Junior, good luck with the NFT thing. I wish you best of luck with that. It's a new frontier, and it's like a bit of a cowboy town, but you're actually the real deal as far as I can see in terms of what an NFT artist should look like. Oh, that's the album, is it?
Yeah, that's my
Have a
book.
look. Oh, okay. Oh,
Tell us about your book,
that.
Jay Junior. Tell us about the book.
Yeah,
please
it's
do.
30 years of my artwork. Yeah.
Wow.
Record covers and ray flyers, published by Velocity Press.
And is that out now?
Yeah, it is out now.
And people can get that.
On
And
the
they can
back.
get that in all your local
Oh.
bookshops. Beautiful, beautiful piece of work.
Let me take a photo of that. I can find it then.
Or
Amazing.
I can send you a direct link.
Yeah, fine. Do that. That's great. I love
Well,
that
to be
stuff.
honest with you guys, if I've connected you two legends tonight, then that's a job well done. You know,
Sorry, what's going on this summer? Let's talk festivals.
I keep asking you. You avoid the question, so I assumed you didn't want to ask it.
I'm just, interested to hear everyone else's story, So Camp Festival looks like it's happening. Wilderness looks like it's happening. Reading Rock Festival looks like it's happening. Ambala's cancelled. Boomtown's cancelled. Deershed's
Hang on, well,
cancelled.
Boomtown cancelled, did it?
Yeah, yesterday.
Oh man, I missed that because they got $1 million from the CRF, didn't they?
Yeah.
Wow.
And don't start, Nick.
Sorry, no, I'm not bitching. No. I love their work.
And the place that is closest to my heart is like community events, like we organise Hackney Carnival and of course Notting Hill and stuff like that, and no one really seems to be representing those places at all in the government or mix. It's always all about rock and roll, but actually the free community events are just as important to the cultural DNA of this country as the paid events in some ways, because that's how people learn about culture. And so that's really worrying. We're working on a load and loads and loads of projects to do this. Yeah, come on, we're going to apply for this, and this could happen here and that could happen there. And I think if you remain with a glass half full and think you're living in a fantasy festival world, is better than living in one that isn't. You know what I'm saying? I'm
down with that, Chris. I mean, I've been getting a load of stick, as you know, for sort of saying, well, let's celebrate this, the festival of creativity and innovation, FUK, Brexit Festival, whatever. I had a big letter in the Guardian because I get the hump when they keep calling it the Brexit Festival because 3 months ago, they said the money's going to get spent, so let's make sure it gets spent well.
You've got to be kidding me, Nick. Honestly, let's talk offline about this.
Well, let's see. Yeah, let's see.
But it's absolutely, it needs to be spent, and it's really in the right hands and everything like that. Yeah, obviously the roots of the fuck festival are in Brexit, which has absolutely taken away a third of my business.
Oh, don't start me on festival. Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? So, that association can't be lost. Martin and his team cannot just, I don't know. It's very confusing. But Walk the Plank are involved, which is great.
Well, there's some great people involved. I mean, there's no question about it. And I wish them luck, as long as they don't all get a big sort of pile of Union Jacks to flag at the last minute and say they don't get the money.
No,
don't do that.
No one's going to do that.
I don't believe they will. I think it's in good hands. I mean, you spoke alongside Sam at the event last year, didn't you? Just to
Is he involved? Yeah.
He's the creative director of Festival UK 2022. Sam Hunt, whatever his name is, Sam John Hunt. You knew that.
I didn't know that.
He's creative director. So he did Waltham Forest. Okay, just remind you, you're on a live stream, but I think he's a good guy. I know you think he's a good guy because you stood alongside him at our event.
I don't know anything about it, to be honest, because it's such an open wound in my view of the UK.
Yeah, well, I hear you, and I'm straddling the fence on that one. If they're going to spend that money, I'd rather it was spent with people like you and him and people like Junior, and we're looking to raise 2 million next year, because what we want to do, I want to raise 2 million next year to put 22 people like me on the road with our little truck to go out into the communities, to run lollipop festivals, to run those events that have made you famous, to run some parties, to do a festival in Ironbridge, to do all sorts of stuff, and to show how art and creativity.
And the cardboard festival that we're going to do in Lewisham Borough of Culture.
Absolutely. Well, let's do this under our own banner. We've got hashtag Festival 22 going on, but whatever. Chris, I'm just going to drop this video now, because this film, you haven't seen this before, Junior. This film sums up this man, Chris Tofu, and everybody.
Celebrate you, baby. We've come a long, long way together, through the hard times and the good. I have to celebrate you, baby. I have to praise you like I should.
I'm going to say it again, Chris Tofu, you've been a breath of fresh air and you've been a milestone in my life. I'm really grateful to you tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
What was that guy's name again who did that photo? Sorry, I forgot.
Charlie Phillips.
Charles Phillips, right. I'm going to check him out. I'm going to contact him and say I found it.
Well, we can connect you with Charlie, definitely. Thank you so much for that. You've been an absolute rock, and really, really grateful for your support. Junior, great to see you, man. We'll see you in the hood. We're West Side.
Yeah, definitely.
Keep it West Side. World Creativity Day. We're absolutely delighted to be here today with Chris Tofu and Junior Tomlin. We're going live again at 8:30 with our hashtag EvolveEd21 stream for an hour. We've got some educators from Wales. We've got people from across the country talking about how education has to evolve and why now is the time. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We'll see you all again very soon. Share this, share it with your friends, and thanks for your support. One love. Art Connect. Take care.